For the 6th episode of Player Picks, we have Jack Lukosius, pick 2 in the Super Draft in 2018. So yeah, clearly a huge talent here. Priced at 431k, lost his forward status, so just a defender this year. In 2020 he played as an intercept defender, played that third tall, played really well, reads the play really well. You might know Nightmare from ESPN, the draft analyst. He's a big fan of Lukosius. He'd say that Lukosius can see the play unfold before it's already happened. So yeah, very impressive talent. A lot of effective long kicks. I've never seen a tall defender have so many meters gained in a game. Some of the games, these are shortened games by the way, he was having 800 meters gained. Just phenomenal stuff. When Lukosius started to push up the ground a bit, which is fine, defenders can do that. When he was kicking inside 50, it was the same feeling I got when Dustin Martin's in front of goal. It felt like doomsday for the opposition. Lukosius, I think 1 or 2 kicks to Rankin from 50 out, just phenomenal kicks. So that is a weapon that you know they would want to use. They want to use him up the ground, but will he play forward? Will he play defence? I really don't know. That's something we'll look at. Try and get a closer look at just from where the Suns are at with their personnel. But yeah, big fan of Lukosius. Had a stretch where he averaged. He did average the 80 in 2020, but had a stretch from I think it was around 4 to 14, averaged 93. At that point, I was thinking I'm probably going to pick Lukosius, but maybe caught up in the moment. His last 3 games were quite atrocious. I think he was tired, maybe just the weight of the season was difficult. So the last 3 games he was really poor, and he moved into the forward line in the last game, which is not what we want. But nonetheless, I really like Jack Lukosius, and I think doing a risk assessment on him is very important because there's a few things that might be able to go wrong, but we'll have a quick look at that. So Jack Lukosius' risk assessment. So I've been over this a few times, but yeah, if any red over these points, high risk, that's not good. Moderate risk in orange, and if it's green, then tick it off, don't worry about it. So with Lukosius, job security is fine, interrupted preseason not so far. Is his play considered injury prone? Played every game except for 1. And one thing I will say, I forgot to mention this in the intro, he's actually put on a bit of size this year. I've noticed it in the Gold Coast thing, the gallery. So it definitely looks like he's put on a bit of size. It's been a short off season so far, but had a few weeks to put on some muscle, and I definitely think he has. Is this player in or near his prime? He's going on to 21 this year, so not really. Tolls tend to take 4 years to get a decent read on them. So yeah, he's quite young and hasn't shown that ability to score consistently over the entire year. So as he gets into his prime, that will happen. It's just, do we know? We haven't seen it yet, so I'm not really sure. Does he have a Supercoach friendly role? Well, intercept marker. I'm always iffy on intercept markers, but it's the least friendly out of the other 3. But intercept marker, third tall, sort of, yeah. There's a few players that can, like Sicily, Ryan, for example. You have to be really good at it to be Supercoach relevant. So I think Lukosius has the scope for it, but assuming he plays intercept marker, he will have a Supercoach friendly role. But the problem is the next point. Is this player at a risk for a role change, and what is the downside of the role change? So we saw him move forward in the last game, which set off alarm bells, because we thought, he's so good at in defence. Do you want to use him forward yet? Well, they've shown that they can use him forward. And I look at their team, and I'm thinking their defenders are Ballard, Powell, Collins. They were playing in defence while Lukosius went forward, so I'm thinking it'll be similar next year. One thing is Rory Thompson might be available, did an ACL, and if anyone remembers when Collins was picked as a Supercoach rookie in 2019, I think it was, he was actually recruited by the Suns. Well, he was a very good intercept marker. He was like the king of intercept marks. I can't remember what league it was in, but he was, a lot of intercept marks, but because of injuries, he had to play as one of the first or second defenders. So he kind of lost that role. Could we see Rory Thompson come in, free up Collins to play intercept marker and move Lukosius forward? Something to keep an eye on. I don't know where Rory Thompson sits in terms of, is he depth? Is he best 22? Maybe we'll find it in the pre-season. But nonetheless, I'm not sure what Gold Coast do with their personnel down back and up forward. So we'll see that maybe March 2 game. That's usually a role play for round 1. So we'll have a look at that. But yeah, if he does move forward, the pick goes to shambles, because key forward is not a Supercoach friendly role at all. We just don't see it. Very rarely do we see premiums as key forwards. And you have to be a dominant key forward like Hawkins just about, or like Gunston's been a third tall, been a sub premium. So yeah, it's a big problem, and I'm not sure you can look past this, to be honest. And yeah, is he a proven scorer? I spoke about this before. We haven't seen him provide consistent scoring over a full season. We saw it in patches. I would have given this an orange had he continued his mid-season form towards to the end of the season, but his last 3 games were so terrible. I can't give him a pass on that one. So he's not a proven scorer, unfortunately, but the trajectory is there. So he's slowly improving, and for him to be this good in his second year as a tall is quite phenomenal. We don't see it very often, and yeah, he's going to be something when he fully develops. No off-field issues, so yeah, the rest of this, completely fine. So we can tick that off. So Jack Lukosius, can you pick him? It's very high risk, just because of the role change, and is it too soon? He's young, he hasn't really been a proven scorer, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he averaged upwards of 95. However, yeah, there's a little bit too much unknown about Jack Lukosius, and unfortunately, the risk is too high to pick him. But yeah, love him as a player, can't wait to watch him develop. But there's a few roadblocks this year, and even if he does score really well, does he move forward? I'm not sure. So for that reason, unfortunately, the risk with Jack Lukosius, as much as I want him to be a great pick, the risk is too high for me.